And I don't see
Good evening, everybody. This is the November 24th, 2025 City Council meeting of the City of Crescent Springs. Please stand for pledge and prayer. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Dear Lord, we come to you tonight to do the work of the city. Please let us keep an open mind that we do what is best for our residents, our businesses, and those that visit us. In Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Roll call, please.
Carol McGowan. Here. Mark Wittenberger.
Here.
Don Kiley.
Here.
Jeff Smith.
Here.
Janine Bell Smith. Present. Bob Miller.
Here.
Thank you. Next item is approval of minutes from the October 27th, 2025 City Council meeting. You all receive those in your packets.
Make a motion to approve.
Motion to approve, is there a second? Is there a second? Roll call, please.
Carol McGowan. Yes. Mark Wittenberger.
Yes.
Don Kiley.
Yes.
Jeff Smith.
Yes.
Janine Bell Smith. No. Bob Miller.
Okay.
Thank you. Next item is Joshua Weiss, Executive Director, Planning and Development Services in Kenton County. Welcome, sir.
Thank you, Mayor. I will not take up too much of your time tonight, but I am making my rounds to all 19 cities in Kenton County just to say hi in my new role as Executive Director of Planning and Development Services. And I will, Mr. Daly or whoever puts the agenda, Mayor, I will thank you for allowing me to go before Mr. Chamberlain again. We seem to be showing up at all the same meetings, so we're on the same schedule. So, and he was actually at our board meeting last week doing our audit. So, good evening, council members. Again, my name is Josh Weiss, and I'm honored to serve as Executive Director of Planning and Development Services of Kenton County. I was appointed when Sharmali Reddy, our previous Executive Director, went on to become the City Manager of Covington. So, been in this role almost going on a few months now. Hard to believe, but I appreciate to be here tonight and just introduce myself or reintroduce myself for those of you I've worked with on some other matters. Just a little bit about my background. I joined PDS over 4 years ago to design and launch the Community Development Initiative. I'm a Kenton County kid. I grew up mainly in Edgewood, where my parents still live, and for the past several years have lived in Erlanger. A parishioner at St. Pius and a product of Kenton County Schools, graduated from Scott High School and then completed degrees at Northern and Thomas More. Before PDS, most of my role has been in the public and private sector on the economic development side of things. I was Economic Development Director and City Administrator for a city here in Northern Kentucky for about 10 years, combined with those roles. And then also I served at Ready Cincinnati, which is the private economic development initiative over in Cincinnati. As you know, at PDS, we manage several key functions on behalf of local government jurisdictions here in Kenton County, including most notably planning and zoning, infrastructure engineering, building inspections, GIS mapping, community development, and then have a contract with some cities and some jurisdictions on code enforcement. We are also the staff support to individual bodies such as the Kenton County Planning Commission, the Link GIS Consortium, and then the Joint County Board of Adjustment and the Joint County Code Enforcement Board. Again, just wanted to say hi tonight and let you know that I very much view our role at PDS as an extension of each of our city's staff that we work with. We are very much a partner to each local government, and we work for you all at the end of the day. And again, for those of you who do know me, you know I'm pretty open and pretty collaborative, and anytime you have a need to meet or discuss anything, please do not hesitate to give me a phone call or a text, and I will work around your schedule to make that happen. I know you all are very busy with careers and lives in addition to your city service here. So with that, again, look forward to working with all of you, and just wanted to say hi tonight. Won't take up too much more of your time.
Thank you.
Great.
Happy to answer any questions if anyone has any. So, no?
Thank you, Director.
Awesome. Thank you.
Really appreciate you coming out.
Thank you, Mayor.
Next is Mr. Chamberlain. This is John Chamberlain, our city auditor, to present the audit for last year's financial statements.
All right, thank you very much, Mayor. My name is John Chamberlain. I'm a CPA and partner at Chamberlain Owen & Company, and we're a CPA firm in Erlanger that specializes in audits of governmental entities. And we appreciate the opportunity to be here at the City of Crescent Springs again this year. Start off by thanking Mike and April and Ben Harrison, who does kind of your roll-up accounting for you at the end of the year. And we really appreciate them giving us everything that we need. I know that Ben is worth every dollar you pay him as far as making sure that everything is rolled up and ready for us to audit. And then April does a great job of keeping everything in the right bucket. So you have a good staff here, and we really appreciate them. I'm going to start off by just kind of reviewing. You should have copies. They have copies of the presentation. Okay, thank you. So just going to step through this presentation for you very quickly. The second slide there shows our opinion. It's what's called an unmodified opinion, meaning no modifications are required of the opinion. And what that means is that after doing all of our audit procedures, we believe that your financial statements are fairly presented in all material respects with generally accepted accounting principles. And that's the highest opinion that we give. As part of every governmental audit, we do a review of internal controls. We want to make sure that your riskiest assets are protected. So for you, that's cash assets, revenue coming in the door, expenses going out the door. And so we want to make sure that you have appropriate segregations of duties. We also want to make sure your financial reporting is appropriate, and with Ben's help, that is true as well. And so we have no significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control to report, and so that's good for a small city. And then as a part of every governmental audit, we also review compliance with Kentucky revised statutes, compliance with any debt, grant, bond, anything like that you have, your CSRS, contributions that you make, that type of thing. And we had no issues of non-compliance as well. We had no management letter items, no suggestions to management this year. The ones we've given you in the past, you've done a nice job of implementing those items. And so we didn't really have anything to do this year. And so I'm pleased with that. We make one planned adjustment every year to your what we call your government-wide financial statements, where we adjust up or down the net pension and other post-employment benefits liability. And so we adjust that every year for you. And we actually made about a $92,000 net benefit or reduction in the pension costs, and about a $56,000 net benefit or reduction to the OPEB cost. We'll get more into that in a moment. We made no adjustments to the fund balance. Again, that's a good tribute to what April and Ben do on a regular basis. The next slide is your cash and assets position. Total assets increased about $560,000 from 2024 up to about $7.1 million from $6.5 million last year. Cash and cash equivalents increased about $430,000 up to $3.3 million from $2.9 million last year. And investments increased about $49,000. The Government Finance Officers Association has a rule of thumb that they would like municipal governments to have somewhere between 3 and 6 months of operating cash on hand. And that's what they consider a healthy amount of operating cash at the end of your fiscal year. And for Crestview Hills, 3 months, for Crestview Hills, we don't care what it is, but for Crescent Springs, we do. And for Crescent Springs, $880,000 would be a 6 months cash on hand, and $1.76 million would be about a 6 months cash on hand. You have about $5.4 million in cash and investments, so just over 15 months of cash reserve. So your cash is very strong, similar to 2024, very strong cash position.
How many months did you
about 15 months operating cash in reserve. Next slide is a liabilities comparison. The yellow is your current liabilities, about $16,000. That's your accounts payable and things like that at June 30th, 2025. The red are your compensated absences liabilities. That's your that's what you owe your staff. That's about $30,000. That's what you owe your staff for vacation that they've accrued at June 30th. And then the orange bar is the net pension and OPEB liability. It's netted together. And you see there, that number's been dropping significantly year over year. Of course, it dropped when the police moved to Villa Hills. You know, that took a big chunk out of that. But even in 23, 24, 25, you see from 518,000 to 468,000 from 24 to 25. And so that's about a $50,000 drop. Now, you know, you can think of your think of the surge retirement. It's a big pool of investments, and those investments obviously are invested in the market. And as that portfolio is invested in the market, when the market conditions are strong, that portfolio is buoyed up. You know, it's worth more, and so your pension and OPEB liabilities are lower. Okay, and so this was measured at June 30th, 2024. The market was very strong, and your pension liabilities and OPEB liabilities decreased. Just doing a little forecasting for 2026, that will have been measured at June 30th, 2025, and we believe that we'll see another drop in 2026 as well. So those the pension and OPEB liabilities continue to drop. Interestingly, your OPEB. Your OPEB is no longer, or other post-employment benefits, that's the health insurance portion, is no longer a liability for non-hazardous employees. It's now an asset. So that number is actually a positive number and we have it netted together here, but it's actually an asset on your books. So the next slide is revenues versus expenditures. You see your revenues at $4.1 million compared to about $3.9 million last year. So that's about a $231,000 increase. Your expenditures about $3.5 million compared to $3.1 million last year, about a $391,000 increase. So revenues minus expenditures, that's your increase in fund balance, about a $605,000 net increase in fund balance. So a very strong increase in fund balance in 25. The next slide is your revenues by source. This is all of your governmental funds. So total revenues, again, $4.1 million, approximately almost a 6% increase there. Payroll taxes, licenses up about 237, very strong, almost 17% growth. Payroll tax continues to be strong in the city, and so that is by far your leading source of revenue. Your property taxes, up about $40,000. That's about a 2.9% increase, and that is a natural increase through valuation of your property. In other words, either new builds or valuation of your property. So it's not done through a tax increase. So that's up about 2%, almost 3%. Intergovernmental revenue up about $14,000, about a 6.9% increase. Your miscellaneous revenue is down pretty significantly, about almost $160,000, but you had a lot of very unusual things last year. You had a Villa Hills surge rebate that you got, and SD1 50% reimbursement, and a $21,000 in code violation things that you had last year that aren't normal revenues for the city. So that's down, but it's down more to where it should be to be normal. Interest up about $8,000. That's about a 5% increase. So more money in the bank, obviously, more interest that you've made. The next slide, I should say, is expenditures by department, and total expenditures at $3.5 million. Again, about a 12.5% increase, $391,000. That compares to about $3.1 million last year. The police up about $94,000, about a 10% increase, almost 11%. The fire authority up about $330,000, 54% increase. The significant portion of that is the new Crescentville Fire Authority contract, and you should be well familiar with that. Public Works at $885,000, up about $42,000, and that is about a 5% increase there. And general government down about 108,000, and that's really a difference between admin health insurance and health savings accounts that have gone down over the last 3 years. Your capital outlay about $220,000, down about $9,000. You did more projects in the prior year. In the current year, some of the projects that the city did, the Ritchie Avenue catch basin, storm sewer improvement, the ADA sidewalk replacement, playground equipment, and the Harris Street reconstruction. So those are some capital outlay projects that you did in the current year. And then contract services up about $42,000, about 45% increase. The next couple of slides are really pretty interesting just to look at in a whole, and that's to show your costs. This is, I think I included, what did I include? About 6 or 7 years here of cost on each one of these. And so you see safety services, that's fire and police combined, about 1.8, almost $1.9 million. Again, about a 29% increase, largely due to the fire contract. But not significantly, or that is your one that's a significant increase, I should say. The next is your general government expenditures, and this one, I just want to show that how even that is over the past 6 years. There's just not a lot of jumping around there. And in fact, it's actually gone down a little bit. So your general government, what you're spending there is very stable over the past 6 or 7 years. Public works expenditures, this one does tend to jump around a little bit because of the way we classify some of your work. Sometimes things are capitalized and sometimes they're just expenses. When we do road, mill and pave, we expense that. So it does jump around a little more, but it has, you can see those numbers are trending upwards as you do more and more public works expenditures in the city. And then capital outlay, same way here, it jumps around based on the large projects that the city's doing. Again, about a 3% increase at $220,000. Again, unmodified opinion on the financial statement, so that's what you want. No significant deficiencies or material weaknesses in internal control that we noted, and no issues of noncompliance that we're required to report. If you have any questions or anything that I can answer, I'd be happy to read the entire set of financial statements word for word if you want that, but expedience, The other post-employment benefits, that's basically the health insurance portion of the retirement. So all of your CSRS retirement costs are broken down between pension and health insurance. Sure.
Do you see an increase in the health insurance cost? Is what we've been hearing on the news. You see any information on
Like in future health insurance costs, just in
2025, 2026.
or are you talking about the CSRS that I was talking about?
Well, I'm not sure that the CSRS, I know that's county.
Well,
That would be all included.
health insurance costs, I don't have anything to do with. That's
Yeah, but what is your perspective on versus?
I don't have one. No, ma'am.
Thank you.
No, that's not what I focus on.
No.
I live in the past, not in the future. I audit from what's in the past, not what's coming up in the future, really.
Well, I just think it's something to keep our eye on.
Absolutely.
And our citizens
But
too.
I don't know those numbers. So.
Thank you.
Anything else? John, thank you very much.
Thank you, guys.
Appreciate your time today to come in and do this.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thanks, John. Chief Wynn.
Good evening. I'll be very brief. 56 fire responses for November, 564 year-to-date. That's an increase of 108 from last year. If you notice on the breakdown, I added a new column. It's going to compare this year to last year. Ambulance calls, 102 ambulance calls, 1,078 year-to-date. That's up 44 from last year. The reason fire seems so much higher is, remember a few months ago when I explained that we're now sending an engine on lift assist only. So just for this year so far, 28 lift assist, where just the engine went, no ambulance. So that's a little bit of the difference there. But again, calls are up considerably.
Chief, just a lift assist is if someone falls, they just need help getting back into their bed or
Right.
chair or something.
That's right. And everybody that's on the fire engine is an EMT or higher. If the ambulance needs to be called, then the ambulance is called later on. I was not at the fire authority meeting last Monday, so I cannot really report on that, but what I understand is that most of the items were tabled till I got back, unfortunately, so.
I did receive an email on Thursday from Jim Cahill, some ideas that they have about funding, that we have to get together on those.
Right. That's pretty much all I had.
Any questions for the chief?
Just lift assistant calls, are they just specific? I mean, is that what they come out as?
Yeah, so the dispatcher has a list of questions to ask, and usually what happens is an elderly person falls out of bed, they can't get back in bed. The fire engine will go, put them back in bed, make sure that they're medically sound, and then we take off.
Thanks,
Okay,
Chief.
have a good Thanksgiving.
You as well. Chief Hall.
Good evening, everybody. I'll try to be brief as well. We had 1,201 calls for service. We documented 10 crimes, 23 traffic collisions, issued 53 citations, and 104 traffic warnings. We had 54 hours of overtime. Over almost half of that was in court overtime. 9 hours was spent in a search warrant, 10 hours for our range, 5 hours investigation, and 5 hours in late arrests that we did have. And those late arrests were due to DUIs. Just some announcements and just kind of things. If anybody has any specific questions on the report, please don't hesitate to ask. We have Christmas in the Park coming up December 6th from 5:30 to 8:30. We'd love to see everybody come out. It'd be a good time for that the cities are putting on, so we'll be participating in that. Our Shop of the Cop and Firefighter event is Wednesday, December 10th. Probably I sound like a broken record every year, but that is probably my favorite day to work, where we have usually between 10 and 12 privileged children that we take from River Ridge, and we take them shopping and then bring them back to the firehouse. They get a nice hot meal, wrap presents, visit from Santa, and just a good time to run around and play with the fire trucks and stuff like that and everything like that. So
And we're still seeking donations for that?
still seeking donations. That was something else I did. We did hold an event over in Villa Hills. Appreciate everybody's donations that they've given thus far. That program does not work without the community's help. Not only through volunteers, but through your monetary donations. Again, it is completely donated money from the citizens. So without it, we cannot perform our wishes that we like to do with it. And we have been very successful through every single year. But that's a sole thank you to our community and the way that they put forth. So thank you again. But yes, we are still accepting donations. We accept donations year round, but we see a really big push around this time frame. We do accept donations through cash check, and we also do have a Venmo. It's up on our Facebook page and a couple other entities as well. I'll make sure that I think I forwarded out to the city as well for Crescent Springs, and hopefully we can get that on the Facebook as well. So again, thank you for everything that everybody does for that event. Let's see, I lost my train of thought. One quick note, kudos to Sergeant Lucas and the Criminal Investigations Division. He had a pretty big case involving human trafficking and a myriad of child sex crimes. Suspect fled from the area. It did generate from our area here. He fled from the area through investigative purposes, assistance of U.S. Marshals and Warner Robins PD in Georgia. He was located and extradited back this past Friday, I believe. So kudos to that and the investigations that took place with that. I will make a notation that Sergeant Black did complete the Southern Police Institute Administrative Officers course. He is here, so it's a big congratulations to Sergeant Black for his completion of that course. You might as well come in. They don't know who they're clapping to. So there you go. Again, that is a 3-month course, very rigid, very strenuous, and appreciative of our cities being able to allow myself and our officers to be able to foster their mental well-being, and it's also actually their intelligence, and to be better for you guys to be able to run the department more efficiently and effective. So that is all I have. I'll say happy Thanksgiving unless anybody has any questions for me.
So I have one for you, Chief.
Sir.
I think I heard in the conversation you and I had that you were able to get some help with a case through the flock cameras that you're now a part of?
Yes, sir. Actually, the two really notoriety. The ones that I just mentioned, the child sex crimes suspect, and again, he's brought back up here to Kenton County. We were able to figure out a license plate for his vehicle, so we were able to utilize the flock camera systems to be able to locate his vehicle traveling back and forth from Atlanta and Warner Robins area. So we were able to pinpoint his, for lack of better terms, but his location, and utilizing U.S. Marshals, utilizing their local law enforcement, we were able to hone in on where he was at. He was actually at, I believe, at a girlfriend's house or whatever be the case down there, and we were able to they were able to get him as he was leaving his house or his girlfriend's house at the time. So the other one as well, we had some police activity, I think a week and a half ago, up off of Anderson. Knoxville Police Department had a double homicide with a potential third person in critical condition down off of I-640. Person shot and killed two people that were riding in a car together. Car fled from that scene, and it was utilized through the flock camera system, but we actually located the vehicle up off of Anderson. So it's been helpful. The suspect left the area in an unknown car. Been great to have some information off of that, but that's a whole another time for another day. But it's been very successful for us so far. I think we've been able to close 5 cases thus far using that system.
Excellent, great.
Does Bill Hill say all their flock cameras up there?
Not all of them are up. We have 2 that are up right now, and the rest are being planted, for a lack of a better term. But because we have those, we have access to that system, so we're able to use it. So, yes, ma'am.
Prices are still stable?
They're still stable for right now, yes, sir.
And Mr. Chief?
Which is weird to say.
Right.
Oh, thank you, ma'am.
Great.
Thanks, everybody.
Chief.
This is not being paid off. This is a donation to Shop of the Cop. I just want to make sure that that's well aware. That's documented on camera.
Thank you. Director Miller is not here today. She's on vacation. She did provide a report. If you have any questions on that, I can certainly try to answer them. I don't know that I can, but you can always email Director Miller.
Just kudos on that salt savings.
Yep, that's a big difference. A big difference, yes. It worked out well. Everything that I had was already mentioned, was basically the Shop of the Cop and Christmas in the Park. Please come out for that. Also, one thing that we're looking into in the park is maybe to heat the building, to keep the restrooms open during the winter, or portalets or something for when people, there's gonna be a nice day this winter. When you have young kids, I'm not sure what a nice day is, but I know my grandkids like to get out. If it's 50 degrees, they're willing to go outside, even in the 40s. So, right now there's nowhere for anyone to go to the restroom up there in the wintertime, so we're looking into what we can do to alleviate that.
I thought they were already heated, just locked up.
No, they're not heated.
Okay.
So we're looking into the 2 options there to try to, if we have to close them because it's not heated, or else we're gonna have water pipe issues. Portalets aren't that attractive, but maybe it's a short-term fix until we can get heat in there. So we are looking into that. Mr. Daly.
Thank you, Mayor Darby. I have just a few items to cover. The first one is the KCPC countywide text amendments. KCPC is proposing a countywide changes to zoning ordinances that would affect multiple cities, which includes Crescent Springs. Because this impacts most jurisdictions in Kenton County, KCPC is handling this through a single application. No action is needed from council tonight. Once the planning commission makes a final recommendation, it will come back to us, and then council will then have to decide whether to adopt the actual changes. The main focus of these changes is to update definitions and standards related to manufactured homes so that they align with state law, specifically House Bill 160. I've sent out a few emails on this topic. I also included with my report an email from Mandy with PDS explaining this process. And then attached to that is an example of how the changes would look within our books here at Crescent Springs. The Old Crescent Springs Street Improvement Project. We will be scheduling a committee meeting in December to review the road improvement concepts that were shared at the 2 public open houses, and along with the feedback that we have received from residents through the project survey. I listed the streets there again for everybody to see what those streets are. Staff professional development. I'm happy to report that Barry Fields in Public Works has successfully completed the Roadmaster Training Program. He has also graduated from the Scholars Program and is currently working for completion of the Master's Program. I listed some information about snow and ice operations for the upcoming winter. It's kind of a carryover from Director Miller's report.
I'll add to that. You might see trucks with plows driving around. Doesn't mean that we're gonna get snow tonight, but the team's out there running their routes to make sure they know where to go, where pitfalls might be as far as potholes or, a missing curb or something. So if you see the trucks out with plows, know that they're just out practicing to make sure that we do as good a job as we can when the snow does come.
Thank you.
Be ready for the weekend.
And my final item in the report is the carryover from Director Miller's report is the Christmas tree recycling program. After the holidays, residents will be able to drop off Christmas trees at our city park. Kenton County will coordinate shipping and shredding on January 5th and January 12th. And one item that's not in my report, I put it in your little packet in front of you with my report, is just a reminder that Mr. Hackett's current term on the Kenton County Joint Code Enforcement Board will expire December 31st of this year. The next 3-year term will begin on pretty much 12/31/25 and will go through 12/31/28. Also, I've listed the appointment and qualifications of board members. So if anyone knows of anyone that might be willing to volunteer for this role, please let me know.
Yes, you do not need to be a council member. And you want to be more involved with Ashley, so if there's someone in the audience or in the community that would like to get involved, please see Mr. Dale or email him.
That is all I have, unless there's any questions.
Yes, what about the Short Amsterdam? I did see the regular, blacktop there, they're working on part of the Villa Hill section. Are they going to eventually come down, weather permitting, as was indicated, on Short Amsterdam, and is that going to?
So I received your email earlier, and I had Director Miller call Rigler just to get an update. He responded back regarding, obviously, the weather permitting. He mentioned something about this weekend. It's going to be cold. I guess the temps are going to dip, so that can have an effect. Along with last week, we had some rain, along with the last few weeks. So it puts us on their list. It puts us behind. So ultimately, the goal was this week, but the weather has had a big effect on it over the last 4 weeks.
So do you see the road being taken care of further on into the month of December?
I think that depends on the weather.
Well, I figured that would be the answer, but do you prospect that could be, if you look at the forecast?
Cross our fingers, I would hope that's the case. However, as far as the list that Rigler has ahead of them, like I said, they have fallen behind because of the last 4 weeks.
Are we next on the list, Short Amsterdam?
We are not. We are
Who's
not.
ahead of us?
Honestly, I don't know where we are specifically on their list. However, they have other jobs that they are working on currently and other jobs that are ahead of us, yes.
Would you get back with me when you find
Yes,
out where we are?
most definitely. I will keep everybody informed on that.
The road's really deteriorating more so than ever. It's in need of help.
Yes, you're right, they were there today, but I'm not sure what they were doing because they didn't start anything today.
They were in Villa Hills. I think there must have some, an issue that was going off to the side of the road must have been falling in, because that area of the road is, always seems to be an issue. That's up in Villa Hills. You go about 5 or 6 blocks up on the left. And again, I don't know if we can do this or not, but have we received any money from the playground grant?
I will let April handle that response.
We received one of the 3 grants, and that actually happened last fiscal year. And we're still in the process of filing for the reimbursement of state, federal. State has been, the request has been made, and we're just waiting for the money.
How much did we receive?
Nothing yet. 25,000.
I know, but how much, did you actually get the money in the budget? You say we received one money from the grant, or did you say we received
That
none at
was
all?
25,000, and
Okay.
we received it last fiscal
Okay,
year.
where did you get that? And that's in the bank?
Yes. Yeah, last fiscal year.
That was my question, thank you.
Okay.
And very quickly, there is a few boxes that we have to check off in order to finally submit the final our information to, for that federal grant. So I think that's something we're working towards.
That's correct.
That's all I have unless there's any other questions.
Thank you. Next item is ordinance 2025-11. Mr. Baker.
Thank you, Mayor. Ordinance 2025-11, an ordinance of the City of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, approving an amended concept development plan regarding property located at 620 to 632 Ireland Avenue, an area of approximately 1.09 acres located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Ireland Avenue and Harris Street in Crescent Springs, including adoption of the Kenton County Planning Commission variances as stated in file number PC 250010MA. Whereas an application was filed by Ross Kreutschjans on behalf of Ireland Development LLC, requesting approval of an amended concept development plan within the R-MF residential multifamily zone of the Crescent Springs zoning ordinance, including two variance requests to reduce required building setbacks for property located at 620 to 632 Ireland Avenue, an area of approximately 1.09 acres located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Ireland Avenue and Harris Street in Crescent Springs. And whereas the Kenton County Planning Commission held a public hearing on September 4th, 2025, received the staff report of Planning and Development Services, PDS, and testimony from the applicant, and recommended approval of the amended concept development plan and associated variances as set forth in file number PC 250010MA. And whereas the Kenton County Planning Commission further recommended approval of two variances to reduce the front yard setback along Ireland Avenue from 25 feet to 15 feet, and to reduce the side yard setback along the property line in common with 2412 Sarah Lane from 25 feet to 12 feet. And whereas following the Planning Commission's recommendation, an aggrieved person filed an appeal pursuant to KRS 100.211 and Article 17 of the Crescent Springs zoning ordinance, Z21, thereby transferring final decision-making authority on this matter to the Crescent Springs City Council. And whereas the City Council has reviewed the record and recommendation by the Kenton County Planning Commission and the report of PDS, and has determined that the proposed amended concept development plan and variances are consistent with the intent and purpose of the Crescent Springs zoning ordinance and the comprehensive plan. Now therefore be it ordained by the city of Crescent Springs, Kentucky, that after review of the record and recommendation of the Kenton County Planning Commission regarding file number PC 25-0010-MA and consideration of the evidence and testimony presented, the City Council hereby approves the amended concept development plan and associated variance request for the property located at 620 to 632 Ireland Avenue, an area of approximately 1.09 acres located at the northeast corner of the intersection of Ireland Avenue and Harris Street in Crescent Springs. The report and recommendation of the Kenton County Planning Commission are hereby adopted and incorporated herein by reference as if fully set forth.
Thank you very much. Is there any discussion on this?
Yes, Mayor, before the vote, I know that you sent a letter out back in October 23rd saying that before the vote would take place, you would allow citizen comments.
Mhm.
That's still okay?
Are there any comments? One moment, please.
Yeah, I would still like to comment regarding the development. I'm totally against this. Of course, I've been against pretty much every development in that neighborhood since I've been there. But what I see is a developer wanting to come in and build 2 commercial apartment buildings and then funnel that traffic into a quiet residential neighborhood, disrupting their quality of life. On the original plan that was concepted back in 2008, was it?
Oh, yeah, I believe it.
The original plan, it had the entry exit coming out of the development onto an arterial street, which was actually it's not a private street, but it is private for that development because nobody lives on it. So it's more or less an arterial street, private, going up to Anderson and going on to a collector street here. I'm sorry, collector street going on to an arterial street. With this concept plan it's coming out into a quiet residential neighborhood, which will deteriorate home values, the quality of life for those residents that live in that neighborhood or live in that area, and create traffic issues which are not needed. And then also the original plan also was to utilize the existing detention basin, which is behind the existing condo unit that's there now. They were to use that detention basin. Now they're going to have to build another one. So we'll have 2 where the initial development plan we're calling for 1. So that's just going to, they want to install that right next to the residents' houses. So it's just going to be another mosquito pond there for them to deal with. And then also one more thing, the original development plan was for ownership, for condos to be owned, and this new plan is for rentals. So there's some major changes I see, and that's why I'm going to say that.
Yes, ma'am.
Jeff, I support what you've just given information. My concern was that I've done my homework, was when we had the PowerPoints, I think it was Andy, if I can get this name correctly, Vidakovich, is that right? He was doing a PowerPoint, and there was a PowerPoint there that basically talked about there was a little, I've got the pictures on my phone, where there were green lines indicated, and there were also blue lines indicated. And I went over that multiple times. And I found out that the green lines, they were the power on this PowerPoint designated, classified as sensitive zones, which they are developmental zones, that they are a bit concerned about them because there are steep slopes, development areas, they're sensitive underlying geological or soil, and they are subject to flooding. And then also we found out that we are Crescent Springs, and hallelujah, there were 3, I believe, United States Geological Services found 3 that were indicated by the blue lines, that these were indicated that they were streams that are running very close to the property. So then I go back to my same concern with the detention basins and the flooding issue. The flooding issue has been an issue that Pine Way, Hidden Pine Way, where Claire Marconi lives, have been an issue. I have looked at the detention basin in back of Panera's. It's not working. And I do believe that we are looking at a situation. I'm not a fortune teller, but from the information that I've received and educated myself on, when you have this whole area seems to be in what I would call a flood plain or a flood zone. And my one question is, I'm wondering if these people have to pay flood insurance, or if this is to come about, the insurance companies will say, if you're going to live in this area, you must pay flood insurance. I live on a hill, I do not have to do that. But when I purchased my home, I did. I would have had to have done that. And that is one of my basic concerns, that these detention basins, there are going to be two. There's one there already, and there will be a brand new one. And then they're going to basically make these setbacks 15 instead of 25 feet. And then I want to clarify, there was two questions that I asked at this Kenton County public meeting. It was a public hearing. I went there as a citizen of Crescent Springs, not as a council person. I have two questions. Why do you want the variance, and what are the results of the variance? As a result of that, I was basically called very terrible names by this wannabe Philadelphia lawyer that was brought in to basically disgrace all the three of us and asked us to leave the chamber, which I think is unbelievable. I am absolutely unbelievable that someone would have that nerve to walk in here, because we have a right to have our voices heard. We basically are representing all the people in Crescent Springs. We've been elected, duly elected, and we do care. And that is our voice. And to remove us from the chambers, and Mr. Baker, you missed that. I wish that you would have been here.
I was in a much better position.
I'm sure you were, because I'm not sure if we were going to go out in handcuffs
That's a bit
or
extreme.
what we were going to do, but obviously we were just three terrible people. And I really have a bad issue with that, because I do believe everyone that is in our council and our staff are good, honest people, and we just don't go things to make up. And I am horrified. The nerve of someone would come in here and make such a statement. And yes, I did read the Holly Hill strategic development issue that went on in Boone County. I got as much as a Philadelphia lawyer could have, which maybe I try to be too. Yeah, and I've been reading what the appellate court read, and I've said I also read what the Supreme Court ended up to. And there was no basis to anything what Hilltop had done.
I'm not
So-
saying the position, but he's not a Philadelphia lawyer. Let's start with that. He's from
I'm sorry.
Cincinnati.
I mean, I misspeak, sir.
And I'm not taking a side on this, I'm simply pointing out that there was no accusation of criminal misconduct made that I read. So,
It wasn't a criminal accusation, but it was a little, I don't think of a nice name to say it. I think inappropriate to ask three members, which would take away a majority, to
I
not have
understand
any
that.
conversation regarding what's in our city.
I understand that point. He's advocate for his client. As a lawyer, I appreciate that. I thank Dave Steele from my office, who was here that night. And I agree with the decision, or the recommendation made by Mr. Steele.
I do too.
And I just think we ought to move forward, that's all.
So with the comments, knowing that the developers are in the building, should they or could they respond to any of this, or because they already did a presentation?
Well, I'm going to open up the floor to anybody who wants to
Okay.
speak on that topic.
Thank you.
Not to any other topic somebody wants to speak on, but this particular topic, I am going to open the floor to, if the developers want to speak, if residents want to speak, it's their floor.
Thank you.
Are there anybody else in council?
Also, may I continue? Sorry, thank you, Carol.
Now I'm finished.
I am a nerdy person. I actually read part of the Z21, which was the greatest plan on earth that ever came to Kenton County or the state of Kentucky. And it does mention here about traffic issues, population density, and too many apartments being in one, or housing being in one location. And I see us now, we're packed in here like sardines. I would like to see, personally, I would like to see that remain a green space. Build some trees by the people that would like to build their units there, and maybe put a couple park benches there, and not see it developed. And I would agree with Jeff Smith on that, is what he said. I would agree with you 100%. But I am concerned, my main concern is if I had a property that was prone to flood zoning, I had water in my basement over that horrible rain, and I missed a lot of things I was supposed to be doing. But that was just a one-time occurrence. It may come back again someday, or soon. Shortly, it's supposed to have rain tonight, I'm not sure. But go over this and find out their vision and their perspective, and you're going to see it fits right into our disagreement with having that development as being part of Crescent Springs.
Any other comments from council?
This is, sorry for the way it goes. This is a development that I've had a view of from being on council a few times. And it been an attraction to seeing something develop after all these years. You know, it's something that seems to be coming to fruition to some degree. Having lived around here for so long, you know, the thought of another car going on by around can make my head explode. So I get the whole traffic concern. When the latest configuration came around, the access point, you know, gave me some pause because I was concerned about the homeowner, John Harris, directly across from that access point, just the amount of traffic going there. And, you know, I was interested to see what the impact that would have today, but then also being able to step back and say, okay, long term, you know, what will this look like? What will this street or this area look like? And try to weigh something that may not be ideal now versus something that potentially be better later. And yes, I do believe that having owner-occupied property as the majority of your residential property inventory base is preferable, but again, in the absence of nothing, you know, the opportunity to have a development, be it rental as opposed to owner-occupied, you know, is a decision we all face. You know, I was struck by, and I will admit, I made a comment, so I think it was Ross or Mr. Hyder. I appreciated their willingness to stick with this project. They bought that property quite a long time ago, have been through a number of different iterations, some of them of their own initiative, but then some based on the feedback and findings from public hearings, research. So whether anything ever comes to pass, you know, I thought there was some merit to folks just hanging with it to see if there was a way to make this work. I do think just over what we've seen in our lifetimes, that area will develop. And I think the zoning that's there now, the zoning that may come there, will only facilitate that area developing, much like we've seen it versus what it was 5, 10, 15, 20 years ago. My friends, the financial planners right there on the 3 corner houses, you know, they sit there each day expecting phone calls. And so I think we have an opportunity to look at someone who has come forward with a concept over a number of years, who wants to develop the site versus the unknown. We don't know what may come, but I do believe it will develop. So I think there is a higher and better use of the vacant land before us. And I think at the end of the day, you know, one of the things I would think we all appreciate is the tax report that we just got continues to show this city having the 3rd lowest tax rate in the region. We have done a good job financially managing as stewards, you know, that expense to our residents. And the fact that we can keep them that low, that we don't raise them in large increments, is a result of things like this that brings some incremental revenue in. Let us keep the taxes low, let us continue to offset the costs of, increasing costs of providing city services, running the city, versus, not having anything incremental coming into the city. But from a financial standpoint, there's certainly something to be considered there. So I just felt like, there's a lot of information to process. But from seeing this over a couple of iterations on council, this has kind of taken on a life of its own, but I think it has provided us additional information because of that. We've got a lot of history to make a decision on. So that's
Miller, are you supporting to have the development come to Crescent Springs?
I'm sorry.
Are you supporting to have the development come to Crescent Springs on Ireland Avenue?
If yes, if the vote was right now, I'd say yes.
So then my question would be for you, will you recuse yourself from voting on this ordinance since you are a conflict of interest as a realtor in the city of Crescent Springs? You mentioned multiple times that you work with Fisher and Dries. You're a realtor, you're very knowledgeable, you live in Crescent Springs a long time, but I think the fact that your position as a realtor, will you be helping rent these apartments or these leases? Will that be part of a job that you will do?
No, I don't. I think part of what I have to do as a council member is be alert for and declare any of those potential conflicts.
I mean,
And if I declared those, sort of couldn't anticipate them, but no, I wouldn't recuse myself unless on the advice of legal counsel.
you wouldn't be involved in,
No. They would have to
Bring
hire me.
clients.
They would have to hire me.
and you wouldn't do that.
I don't think they would. I don't think they would do it for the very reason we're talking about right now.
It's just a point of clarification that I wanted a question asked.
What's the legal point of view?
I was gonna wait for the conversation to stop and then
I'll
ask that.
ask Mr. Mueller, do you have any direct financial interest in the outcome of this?
None.
None. Then he is qualified to vote.
Any other council comments?
Eligible about making that.
Now we'll open up. First standing in the back. Can you come up front and identify yourself, please?
Like I say, good evening to everybody here. I just had one question. Mike here talked a lot about and winded for 1.9 acres. How many units are going up? 2, 40?
I believe it's 6.
It never came up, that's all.
2 units to 17 altogether.
Thank you very much.
What is your name and address we need to know?
My name's Rick Lutz, I live on Watkins Street, the widest street over there.
What's your last name?
Lutz, L-U-T-Z.
Thank you.
It's just, it's the one thing that wasn't brought up the whole time I'm going, because it affects the cars and traffic and stuff. So thank you.
Thank you for caring about what's going on.
Any other comments?
For your citizens.
Yes, ma'am. Can you come up, please?
Hi, my name is Dawn Johnson. I own property on Harris Avenue. I'm the house that all the headlights are going to come into, and nobody's bothered to ask us anything about it. So, there was a Crescent Springs small area study that not this body, but one of the previous councils commissioned. There was a guy out of Dayton that came down, and they talked about how we have way too much multifamily. They've then put in the drive-by place where Winterbirds used to be, and now they want to do 17 more. They've already said we have too much. When they did the original agreement, like Jeff said, the council assured us the access would not be on Harris. Would not be. Period. Would not happen. Now, we're a very small street. I know you all just dumped a bunch of money into it. It's still not right. The water is still not right. And when they come out of this proposed development, they're going to have to make a left-hand turn to go up the hill. Right now, the water from where it was re-engineered and redone, the water comes down, it goes across, and then it comes back around. So there's going to be a giant ice patch. There's been a giant ice patch for years. It's going to be just as bad, if not worse. And you're going to have all of these other people now making uphill left-hand turns to get out of there. That's the other thing. You've all already agreed that it's okay to reduce the setback, but we are against reducing the setbacks. That standard is set by the county for a reason, and we think that it ought to be maintained. I have questions about where the plan itself. Was there ever an attempt to gain access through the development that it was split off from to keep the traffic off of Harris? Egress, or what they call easement. Where is the dumpster and the trash receptacles, everything going to be in this new development? Because as of right now, when they come and do the trash at the apartments that are over there now, it is bang, 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 bang at 5 o'clock in the morning. When are they going to do it? And what kind of receptacle is it going to be? They're smelly, they draw rodents. We don't need any more problems. And I have a question. Was it ever looked at to put the entrance to this new development behind where the paint store is on the other end? I mean, they're going to have a bunch of earth moving equipment there anyway. Is there a reason why it couldn't go on that end and come out where Panera would make an actual intersection and keep them off of Harris? Let's see. There's going to be increased traffic, of course. And not only that, or not only are they going to be dumping another 60 or so cars a day into that with the reconstruction that they're getting ready to start on Buttermilk, the double diamond of death that they're going to do. I mean, I'm not sure how much more we can take. I personally live in Villa Hills now, and it is a ridiculous amount of time to get out. And they're going to be dumping a bunch more traffic into that area. As far as we're worried about the light pollution and what that is going to do to our property, how the lights are going to be shielded on the buildings, if there are going to be like light poles in the middle of the street, what exactly is going to happen. Now, the other thing is, at the corner of Harris and Ireland right now, there is a stop sign in 2 directions. And if you sit in my driveway and watch, you are going to see 150 cars a day blow through that intersection and not stop. And now you're going to have 40 or 50 or 60 cars coming up that hill. Are they going to put in a 3rd stop sign? So you're going to be stopping on ice on a hill in the middle of the wintertime? I mean, how are we going to handle that? And if they don't stop, you're going to have a bunch of accidents in that intersection. Several of the people on that street are going to lose parking because they've already lost parking. More parking is going to be lost because you're going to have access to make that turn out of the development. And then we want to know, specifically to my property, how the excess noise and headlights that's going to be coming directly into that house are going to be mitigated. I mean, you can't put screening, it's going to be a driveway. What are you going to do? Because you're going to hurt my property value when you do that. And I guess that's all the issues that I have at the moment. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Don.
Oh, I would like to just mention something. I am a school teacher, many years retired. We're going to have school buses. We're going to have emptying the garbage is correct, but we're going to put more people into our schools, which are already busting at the seams.
Right.
We need financially, we have issues with all of our schools. And I know personally, that is my way home. Farley Crescent Springs Road onto Anderson, onto Buttermilk. Praise the Lord when it comes to that Ireland street exit, and then you go on either Twin City or the direct out there. There is the Cars are coming this way from Exing, they're coming this way from Ireland, and they're coming this way and that way, and it's a bottleneck and nobody moves. And then you get on to Buttermilk, well, praise the Lord on that one.
Good luck.
I had a serviceman come to my house, and I said, why are you late? He said, I was 20 minutes waiting to get over here. I said, what was your problem? Buttermilk, trying to get up Anderson.
Yeah.
And I live, that's my whole life. That's how I get out of my house where I live in Crescent Springs.
Yeah. The school buses are gonna be an issue.
Absolutely, they are now, they already are.
If they load in that parking lot, the school buses are gonna be an issue.
Now, my understanding, if you don't know, but it's my understanding, I'll stand corrected and informed if I'm wrong, that there's going to be an access road built behind these apartments. Because they will not enter into Ireland. There will be no driveways, no garages. They will all be in the back. So you're going to have, what, I guess, is it 17 units? I don't know how they're segregated.
2 buildings, right?
Yes.
2 buildings.
2 buildings or 3?
2 buildings.
So you're looking at
I
it,
read 3, but it's 2. I'll go with that.
you're
That's
looking
fine.
at least 40 or 50 extra cars,
Absolutely.
plus the school buses, plus the garbage
Absolutely, and
trucks.
the children coming into the schools, and right now, our density as far as it comes to apartments, we're bursting, or busting, whatever correct terminology you want to use, at the seams. We can't help any more people. It's just like trying to make a quart bottle hold more water when it's only going to hold a quart. Thank you, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Anybody else want to speak? Yes, sir.
Hello, my name's Jeff Morris. I live at 2424 Harris. I was here in 2007 talking about all this stuff too. And our road actually wasn't a dead-end street at that time. It went on down and made a right, and that became Spilly and went all the way up. And one of the things that they did for us to get the original buildings passed was they made that a dead-end street, and they were going to make the other street one way, the one behind Panera Bread there on Ireland, but the city wouldn't allow that or whatever, so they compromised in exiting out behind the building that's there now and coming out on the Spilling Lane. They closed off the end of our street, made it a dead end, and that was all part of the original deal. So to me, there was a lot more being changed than just road frontage, which they didn't really seem to want to talk about at the planning committee thing, but that was all pretty quick, I thought. But that's pretty much all I had to say. Was I agree with Dawn 100%. I live right next door to her house, and I just sound like a Paul Parrott if I keep going on. It's the same thing everybody else is saying.
Right.
But
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Hi, my name is Matthew Johnson. I live at 2422 Harris. I have lived in Crescent Springs all my life, and I'm generally pro-development when it's in the best interest of the community. However, it really strains credulity that this is in the best interest of this community, considering all of the issues that we have. The 3 I just want to harp on are traffic, again, has been mentioned, water, drainage as well. I know that during the winter it really does, honest to God, freeze on that street. I pull out of my driveway, I slide down, and then I take a running start to get up the hill. And you just redid the street, and it looks great. I'm not sure why you would want to create a bunch of impermeable surfaces to drain more water onto this street. That's going to create even more problems. And also, finally, screening. It's no joke. As soon as it gets dark, there are headlights in my house constantly from across the street. At least in the prior developments, they tried to do screening with trees and the like. However, I haven't heard anything or seen anything to that effect here. Thank you.
Great, thank you. Thank you, Matthew. Yes, ma'am.
I have another concern too that I've been, we talked about SD1. And a very cavalier attitude, oh, SD1 will take care of that. Well, I've been involved with SD1 for quite a long time, especially with the consent decree way back when. SD1 is paid and financed by, does everyone know the answer to that question? To every one of us sitting here in this room. That's who pays for that. And then in order to make this consent decree, we owed billions of dollars to the EPA because we violated the 1972 Clean Water Act, which I would like to see us basically removed from that responsibility. Your SD1 bill is going to increase exponentially through the next, 30 years? Like, that's the correct time on that? But if anything has to be done with SD1 taking care of that, we will also be part of taking care of that. I think with the city, it's a 50%, correct? And if it's a resident, it's a 33 and a third, 33 and a third, 33 and a third. But when you go back and you look at the 33 and a third and the 33 and a third for the SD1 and the resident and then the city, we're 33 and a third twice. We're more like 66% of the cost when you add the fact of our bills are on there, and we're also going to help the individual to take care of the SD1 issues. And no, SD1 has not taken care of the detention basin behind Panera. Take a good look at that. And I have to recount again. We are called Crescent Springs. Why do you think we're called Crescent Springs? There's water everywhere. Everywhere. That's going to be a part of your life. So SD1, be your responsibility too.
Anybody else?
Are you ready for us now? If you'd like to speak,
Yes. That's why I was asking if anybody else, I was kind of looking at you, I didn't know if you wanted to speak or not.
Oh, yeah, I'd like to answer a few of the questions. We're going to have Don McCardle start us off, so you talk a little about the detention areas and some of the access questions and explain why. Do what we're doing.
My name's Don Stegman. I'm a civil engineer with Cardinal Engineering. We've done the design for this, which is a concept development plan. It's not a finished development plan. It's a concept development plan, so all of the details that you'd have in the final plan are not there yet. So a couple of points that were brought up I'd like to address. For one, this property is not in a flood zone. A second is that SD1 does not have the maintenance responsibility for the detention basin that would be put in. So this property originally was part of the adjoining property, and that old development on their original plan had 32 units. They revised that one, they built it down to 30 with detached garages. So that plan that was approved had 30 units on it, and that building of detached garage. They built 10 and the detached garages, so that left 20 units left to be built. These gentlemen came up with a nice plan that fits with the hill, because one thing that wasn't brought out, the whole site was graded and developed as those three buildings were going to be built. So there's a pretty steep drop off of Ireland right now, and I do have pictures and a plan if you want me to hook it up and show people, but right now we'll just describe it. Let me know if you want to see any of that. But there's a pretty steep grade off of Ireland down to a pretty flat area. All the infrastructure that's on that site was put in as though all three buildings were going to be built. So sanitary sewers, storm sewers come off of Ireland, go down between the site, go down into what was supposed to be one detention basin. As these gentlemen looked at the site, they said, well, we're hearing that they have problems with that existing detention basin, and that that original site fell into receivership. So it went bankrupt. And the bankruptcy judge split that thing right down what was built and what's not built. So that's in two separate parcels now. And there's no clear designation of this property having any rights to go across that property. So we have to treat it as though two completely separate pieces of property. So people asked, one, why do we have a different access point? Well, that's the reason. There's no clear designation that they can even use the other property. So we came off of Harris. That property steps down. The buildings that we've got, so if you've all seen that rendering of the townhomes, this is what you'll see from Ireland, from the front. So you only see a 2-story front from Ireland, but in the back you'd see a 3-story. So there's 2-car garages to each one of these units in the back. There's off-street parking enough to park everybody in their unit, on their driveway in front of their unit, and then there's additional parking spaces on the common drive in the back. So somebody said parking spaces would be taken up on the street. I think we've done the best job that we possibly can to not take up anybody's parking space, because there's only one access point onto the existing street. Let's see. There was somebody asked if we could move that access point from Harris over onto Ireland. Well, that grade that I talked about coming off of Ireland makes that not the best situation, because that grade would have to be so steep that the car, you'd be coming out up to Ireland. And from what we were told by the city engineer, Ireland's being considered to be was it a semi-collector? So there's a lot of traffic on Ireland. So they really didn't want us to have driveway connections off of Ireland. So that was how we came up with this concept. Let's see. So SD1 has the ability to come and inspect. This is all private. The detention basin on the site will be privately maintained. SD1 will have the ability to come and tell you if it's not, and they'll actually have the ability to put a lien on it if you're not maintaining the property. So I don't know what's exactly going on over at the adjoining properties, but this will not be the same design as what's going on over there. Let's see. One of the things that was not required for a concept development plan was the landscaping. So there's full landscape buffering required to be installed and designed and put in. So especially along Harris, they're even planning on putting additional landscaping on that frontage, because they know there'll be a buffer that they want to keep between them and the people along Harris, to try to minimize the impact of headlights coming out at that point. So there's one driveway connection, and there's some room on either side to have landscaping and additional landscaping. We could even consider putting a mound in there along with the landscaping too, if that would be helpful. Let's see. Somebody talked about dumpster and trash. These will be individual, since everybody's got a 2-car garage, they'll have an individual trash receptacle, just like you would in a single-family house. So there won't be any big dumpster and no banging at night. It'll be an individual pickup, just like a single-family house would. These will be residentially illuminated, so coach lights, typical. There's no pole lights and that kind of stuff. No wall packs or anything for people worried about light pollution. This should look very similar to what you see for the adjoining condo development, because it has very similar materials, brick, and similar looks with the alternate materials as you go along there. Let's see. Somebody commented about water draining onto the street. The way it's designed, there's no water that will drain onto Harris. It'll all be captured internally to the site, go through the detention basin that will contain and restrict and hold back the water from going down, continuing down the drainage path. Let's see. I'm sorry that was a little disjointed, but was trying to catch all the points that came up. Does anybody else have a question for me?
I just want to clarify what my homework works is that, went off of Ireland, there's a hill there, and there's a telephone pole. As you go down, I believe that's 10 foot going down.
Depending on,
And then
depending
when
where
you
you
were trying to mention, I couldn't quite comprehend what you were going to do with that 10 foot, about 10 foot drop. There's the sidewalk, and then the hill comes down, and then of course the telephone poles are here.
So you'll have
What do
the foundation wall of the building will be there to go down the next story.
Well, again,
So there'll be a foundation wall. You'll go back to the front yard. So this is what you'll see from Ireland, but there's a whole nother floor of the building below it that will be built by that hill. And
see,
then,
your first rendering that I was looking at, this might have changed, you actually had garage doors in the front of that. Am I correct on that?
That is on the rear side.
no.
The garage is right in the front, the garages are on the rear side.
It's on the rear side,
Yeah.
but I saw a rendering of that, but it looked like the garages were on the front.
No, the
We
garage
showed
is
a picture of the existing development, and they have garages in front,
Well,
but
then-
not this one.
That maybe, okay, that was my clarification.
Okay.
I think it was the condos,
Yeah.
what you're referring to.
Yeah, the condos-
There's garages out front, correct? That you see. when you drive.
There'll be no driveways, no connections, just front doors, front porches and doors that go out, will go out to a sidewalk along
So that
Ireland.
10-foot drop will be raised.
It'll be flat.
It'll be
front
so
flat,
yeah.
It'll be flat. 'cause
Yeah, this will be flat
your
top.
Basement pipe.
Pretty much flat to Ireland, and then you'll have a basement in the back, and the site's been already graded, so that works.
I also think that we're cutting down too many trees, and there are not very many trees over there at all in that area.
I don't think
We're not cutting any trees down.
Okay,
It's completely,
because
it's
there's
completely
nothing to
clear.
cut down.
Yeah, it's
There's an existing buffer between the Sherwin-Williams and this property, and that's what we want to keep. It's really already the one big area of vegetation. We want to keep that
Will you be
buffer
planting
between.
trees?
Oh,
I mean,
absolutely.
trees, not bushes, nice
Absolutely.
trees.
There will be, you've got a landscaping regulation that requires the buffer and the trees specification along that whole frontage and along the Harris frontage. And we're going to do extra along the Harris frontage because we realize we're adjoining some single-family homes.
And you're Mr. Steele?
Stegman.
Stegman.
Yes.
I want to compliment you because of all the testimony that I've heard, you give 100%. You've been the best. I feel like you were kind, you were respectful, and I like that.
Thank you. Try to be. Just want to answer questions, so hopefully, does anybody else have any
Gentlemen, any
extra
other
questions?
comments from you?
Maybe these guys wanted to say?
Ms. Johnson wants to ask another question.
The only thing I want to add real quick is that, as we already told you guys, we're local developers. We've been here, we're staying here. We're going to continue to take care of our properties. We're not just going to come in and build something and be, we're not out-of-town developers. As Mr. Hydrick had said before, this thing was zoned for 20 units. 20 units can be put on that property. It will not be nice. It will not have two-car garages. They will be two-bedroom vinyl-clad units with no garages, and they'll be taking the parking up on the street and other places. It is zoned for that. It can happen. We're trying to do something a little bit nicer. Let me rephrase that. We're trying to do something a whole lot nicer that will fit in with the community and is the type of projects that we like to build. So that's all we're trying to do.
The comments made by other people that were with you were very condescending. I think we deserve an apology and respect because we're good people here, every one of us. And I was really taken aback by what was told for us to leave the chamber, really. All those 4,500 people, that's why we're here. And I know I shook hands with you and you're Brian?
I'm Brian.
Your boss.
Yes.
The first night we came in. But then after we discussed it, all I asked was 2 questions. Why? And what happens if you don't? And yet I was called horrible names.
We didn't call it, I didn't call it horrible name. I'm sorry if you felt
No,
that.
but your group did, is what I'm trying to say. And I think that needs to be remediated because that's very wrong. And you don't, well, they will say, you don't catch a lot of flies or bees by hate and contempt. That's what I felt this was, very disappointed. Because I think you are 2 very young, good gentlemen, and I believe in you, but I'm not supporting the development, but I do think you're good, honest people. So we are, as we sit here.
Your choice. Thank you.
Ms. Johnson?
He didn't answer the question about whether he had requested some kind of workaround with the easement on the other property.
We do not own it. We cannot do
You
that.
can ask them for an easement and take all of your stuff over there the way it was originally designed.
We have not, no.
So no attempt was made. It's just the path of least resistance is what has been chosen, not what's right for the neighborhood.
Let's not,
Sorry. Okay, as far as no water coming out on Harris, nobody said any water, your water was gonna come out on Harris. What we're saying is, there's already water on Harris. And when you come out of your development on Harris and have to turn left to go up that hill, there's ice, and it's gonna be a problem. And you are saying that the grade is not the same. You're gonna have heavy equipment, you could make the grade whatever you want. There you go.
Thank you. Can I ask a question? Maybe the mountaintop. What's the street that is next to, there's the paint store, and there's a parcel there.
Emily and Sarah.
Sold, I think. Is there a street next to that? Three business strip mall.
yeah, there's a street there, it's,
There's Sarah and Emily.
So Sarah goes out to Anderson, and does it continue like next to the little three business building?
it goes back to the condos that were built.
And that's what they're
20 years
referring,
ago.
that's what they're referring to.
Yes.
With the access to this, tie into that. I think is what they were saying, right?
Correct.
Okay.
From the original design.
I think it was, yeah. But again, you guys have hung in 20 years, and it's like you just don't need people coming at you every time saying, okay, we'll do it, but now you're doing what they want you to do. But you've heard that's a major issue that, I feel like if somebody said to me, your job is to negotiate a deal between the owners of this property and this property to provide some sort of agreement amidst the access. Granted, you can't do it, you just can't cut it out today. It's not something you've went forward with because probably no one's asked you. But I think we're hearing loud and clear, and that's a real sticking point here, is we may have the opportunity via Sarah or other, I'll say, non-existing access to the other property to overcome a big hurdle. But it would be a big hurdle to overcome to reach that sort of an agreement.
Correct.
I understand your
You have to deal with
proposal's
private,
not-
yeah, you have to deal with private owner and HOA, and then be able to do that, and then the price to pay for it, we can't afford to pay
So
unless
you're
we're
right.
paying, yes.
I'm with you. I mean, that's not, let's before council.
Sure,
I
understand.
don't want to take a shot on red.
Yeah.
But I think that's, you've heard loud and clear, it's a big statement.
And if I could interject, I worked for Mr. Heydrich for many years on multiple options to try to come up with something, and he could not. And I think he has made that attempt to clarify that arrangement and could not, he's an attorney himself and could not come up with an agreement, a paperwork, anything that said they had rights to that property.
I would agree.
Yeah, so I know he's met,
This is not
he met with
something-
that, right, so, to say the attempt's not been made, I think that's not true. So, but I think there's so much, variability in the document from what I understood, that was done at the bankruptcy time, that he couldn't.
Or choice of words to say the attempt was not made.
Okay,
I think
yeah.
when we were hearing, we don't have rights to do it, I think that prompted the question, but did anybody take a shot at it? And I would agree, Dave would be the
Yes.
first to do it.
Yes, he tried to do it.
But if nobody asked, if that's all it takes, for God's sake, let's ask the question. So if it's been done, fine.
I will mention that I basically signed the appeal. I'm glad that I did, because I'm a voice for the people, and I think the people have a right in Crescent Springs to know how the sausage is made. You've heard the old, sometimes it's not very nice, is it, as we saw a while back, and what was said about us. And it's important that too many things are done by the powers that be. They don't come back to the city. It's my contention that I want these things to come back to the city. I want to know who these people are. I want to know what you want to do, and I want to work with you. But when I see just Kenton County Planning, nothing against you guys, super people, I love all of you. I mean, I know these guys, Sean and Reddy too. But so many things are done, and we don't know how this come up, because I went on Western Reserve, all of a sudden people were asking me, I have no idea. Maybe I wasn't listening well, I'm not sure. I get a conduct report from Mike over there. But it was important that we have a right to have the people to know what we are doing, and that was my intent. And I did sign it as an appeased person, not as a council person, because Andy said, I said, no, I'm not signing as a legislator. I have no right to do that, because I live in Crescent Springs, and I've lived here a very long time. But the way things have turned out, it's not very pretty, is it? The saucy big night. Sorry about that. And if we could
Okay, thank you all very much, I appreciate it.
Thank you for your time.
Comments? So before us, we do have ordinance 2025-11. Is there a motion to approve?
I have a question. If this is not voted on, the planning commission decision.
It's fine.
Correct.
Correct.
I'll make a motion to approve ordinance 2025-11 as written.
I'll second it.
Thank you. We've had a lot of discussion on this. Roll call, please.
Carolyn Gowen,
Yes.
Mark Wartenberger,
No.
Don Kylie,
No.
Jeff Smith,
No.
Janine Bell Smith,
No,
Bob Mueller,
Yes.
Okay. So if I'm right, Mr. Baker, that does put aside the file number PC 25-0010-NA is not moving forward at this time.
That's my understanding as well.
Okay, thank you. Any new business? Any committee reports that aren't already talked about?
is that Mayor? Because of the 2 to 4 no's, it's done. There will
As it
be-
stands right now.
There will be no development, yes.
As it stands right now, I can't say what's going to happen in the future.
We got that, yes, I understand that.
Any residents' comments? I'll take a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn. Second.
All in favor?
Well, I did my report, I have a report for you.
I asked.
Well, I mean, I'm busy looking at my papers here. I want to tell you what I've done is Communication Transparency Committee. I did attend the mayor's meeting.
Yeah.
It was at the county building, Saturday, November the 15th.
We do have a motion and a second on the floor.
Can I stop talking to that, or can I finish?
You can tell me afterwards.
Well, I would like to make it for the record.
We have a motion and a second. What's up first? We have a motion and a second. All in favor to adjourn? Any opposed? So moved.
I'll do it next time. Thank you.
Thank you.